We're here with Alex Morse, who is the mayor-elect of Holyoke, Massachusetts. You had an election that was closer than you expected, not as close as you expected. What were you thinking in the morning, and then compared to the results?
Well, the election that was closer than I expected was the preliminary, when I ended up beating the incumbent mayor by one vote. For the general last Tuesday, it was about what I expected. I was feeling good all day. Just the energy in the city throughout the election day, you could just feel it. So I was, we expected to win. We worked really hard. People often ask, did you expect you're going to win tonight? And I said, well, ever since I announced on January 25th, I expected to be winning on November 8th. But it was close. I think it was a margin of between 600 and 700 votes. I mean, we did well in that we won 10 of the city's 14 precincts, and we won back wards and precincts that we lost in the preliminary.
There's so many kind of side stories, and I guess my question is, which ones do you think aren't really side stories? And CBS, ABC, there's been a lot of different stories done about your win. Some of them have focused on Holyoke. Mm-hmm. Some of them have focused on you. Mm-hmm. One interesting thing was that there was always a focus about your age. You're 22. Yeah. But the CBS story, interestingly enough, didn't mention at all that you're openly gay.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about this, it was months ago, before the election, and you kind of gave a few thoughts about, is that going to be written about? Is it not going to be written about? Mm-hmm. You were a little bit kind of unsure of really how you felt about it. Did you want that to be part of the story or not?
It didn't matter to me. I'm openly gay. I've always been open and honest about my sexuality. So I've done plenty of interviews for LGBT specific media, whether it's print or radio. So I'm always mentioning it. I think CBS News, I don't think they intentionally left it out. And I know folks around
that's my question.
And folks around the country, Glad has contacted the campaign and said, well, did they intentionally leave it out? I said, no, it didn't come up. I wanted the interview to be about the Victory Theater, about the High Performance Computing Center, about renovating the H.H. Richardson train station. And at the end of the day, voters don't care whether I'm gay or straight.
So the fact it's interesting you say that because, I have so many questions about this. Question one is, I'm guessing more was filmed than what made it into the 3 or 4 minute piece. In any of what was filmed, did it come up and it just didn't make the cut, or it literally wasn't mentioned at all?
It did not come up at all.
Okay.
Not one question, not one of my answers brought it up. I mean, I didn't even know if they knew. It's not something that I thought was important at the time.
So I got a bunch of emails in advance of the interview with you, and there's kind of two sides. Side one is it's kind of a big deal because it's really Massachusetts first state to allow gay marriage. There's such a broad range of gay rights issues across the country, and it should be mentioned. The other side is the fact that it's not mentioned actually shows progress, because it means maybe it's just not really even a factor. The fact that it's not a story is a good sign. Which side do you sympathize
I think it's
with?
great. I mean, we had thought about it as a campaign, is my sexuality going to matter in a city like Holyoke that has sort of struggled with this issue for many years, and some would say isn't the most accepting place. I would beg to differ with that. I mean, the Springfield Republican, which has really high readership in the city of Holyoke, multiple times said Alex is 22, single, gay, without kids. The Sunday before the election, reminding voters again, and yet still we won the election. So it didn't matter to Holyoke voters, which made me really proud of our city, that they looked not only beyond my sexuality, but they looked beyond my age. I mean, we had to overcome questions of my age more than questions of my sexuality.
Is that surprising?
No, I always thought I would have to overcome my age more so, because it's more important, I think, relevant to the conversation. To the folks who say, who are upset that it wasn't mentioned in the interview, it didn't come up, and I was focused on the issues important to voters and my constituents, and I'm happy to mention it when I need to mention it. And I'm openly gay. I was endorsed by the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund, which supports openly gay candidates for office. I've done plenty of interviews for LGBT-themed media, and it's something I'm proud of and something I'll mention as mayor. But I don't want those folks to worry that my identity is all of a sudden going to be invisible, because that's not going to happen.
When we look at the last, 10 months, and then we look at the 10 months that will start when you take office, they're going to be very, very different, right? I mean, the campaign period is one more of ideas. It's one more of, I hate to channel President Obama, but of hope and, inspiring people to vote and that type of thing. And now you're going to be moving into a job that is mostly an administrative job, right? I mean, this is like, it's running a business in a sense. Is that, number one, going to be a letdown in any way? As much as I know you love Holyoke and you're looking forward to it, does it, in a way, take a little bit of the air out in the sense that it's slightly more boring, maybe?
Not at all. It's the most exciting job, and it's, to be frank, my dream job. And I think every day is going to be exciting. There's, always things happening in the city of Holyoke, weeknights, weekends, and I'm honored to be our city's mayor at this exciting time. Yes, it's an administrative job, but I promised voters that I would be Holyoke's chief marketing officer and the driving force behind a lot of the things that needed to happen. So I need to be out there sending a positive message of the city of Holyoke, convincing new development, new companies to move here, convincing people to move their families to Holyoke. That's what I want to do and spend my energy on. Of course, there's the day-to-day operations. We'll have a great staff. I want to hire, making sure we have the experts in the field, whether it's the law department or the public health department, making sure we have people that get up every morning wanting to actually make changes in the city of Holyoke, that you're not just there for a 9-to-5 job. You actually love the city and want to see things happen. So I'm excited. I think every day will be a challenge. Every day will be a new day, but every day will be exciting, just like this campaign has been.
Some of the issues that Holyoke faces are kind of a microcosm or representative of some of the broader issues in the country that our listeners all across the country probably are familiar with. Unemployment is a big issue in Holyoke, 11%, I believe. Poverty is a big issue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 30% of Holyoke residents living below the federal poverty line. And there's so many elected officials that campaign on fixing those issues. We heard everybody from John Boehner in the House of Representatives to President Obama talking about jobs. And then in the end, it's really very hard to move unemployment numbers in any real significant way in a short period of time. Do you worry about what exactly are you going to do, even though you have a plan that you have in mind? I mean, how do you manage that?
Yeah, we have plans, and that's why expectations are really high right now in the city of Holyoke. I've never before seen so many people excited about the city and the future of our city. We do have a lot of exciting things coming for Holyoke. This morning I was at the kickoff for the expansion and renovation of our public library. The Victory Theater renovation's coming, the arrival of a green high-performance computing center. All these projects involve jobs, construction jobs. We do have a little bit more than 11% unemployment rate. I worked at Career Point, a career center, for 4.5 years, and the number one job we need to do is connect unemployed with the jobs that are available, because there are open jobs now in the city of Holyoke, and investment in education. So throughout this campaign, I didn't promise that we would reduce the unemployment rate to 5%. That's not going to happen. That's impossible. But we're going to do some steps in the next 2 years to sort of set us on a path towards long-term success. To give people jobs, number one, they need to be educated. Companies aren't moving to Holyoke because we don't have an educated base of young people, and college graduates aren't moving back here. So what kind of economy do we want to create? I don't think casino gambling is going to bring college graduates back or bring families to the city of Holyoke. That's just not true. So what kind of economy do we want to create? And that's why I want to focus on an art-based, innovation, and technology-based economy, so that college graduates want to move back to Holyoke, that entrepreneurs want to start their businesses here in Holyoke. And those are conversations I've already started. So on day one, I want to start rebranding the city of Holyoke, bringing us from the paper city to the digital city, so that people, when they think Holyoke, they know we're moving in the right direction and that we're embracing the 21st century.
What's your biggest fear for this term that's coming up? In other words, is there something that if you weren't able to accomplish, you would really regret after that term? What's your biggest concern?
My biggest concern is that I guess the ability of folks to work together. So we have a lot of good energy. I ran a completely positive campaign. And what would disappoint me is if people put politics before people. And I think it's really important that we have substantive conversations about education, economic development. I know in the past, often mayors have sort of hostile relationships with the city council. I want to have a mutually positive relationship, be able to work with all of the city councilors. Even if we don't agree on every issue, we can find common ground on some issues. So I will be disappointed if some of my plans and visions don't happen because there's a few folks who don't agree with me 100% of the time. So it's going to be important that I work with the city council to make things happen.
For all of the concerns people might have about a 22-year-old mayor, what can you point out that's objectively positive about a young person in that type of role?
Yeah, there are several things, and I've made that argument, and I made the argument well throughout the past 11 months, that at the end of the day, my age didn't matter, and it was seen as an asset. And that, number one, I haven't been around long enough to have special interest or to owe anybody a political favor. And number two, I'm the only candidate, and was the only candidate, that was raised in the digital age, who can really capitalize on the energy and the excitement that's happening in the city of Holyoke. And I have all the time in the world. I mean, the newspaper likes to point out I'm single. That gives me more time to dedicate to the job. And I really want to dedicate my life to the city of Holyoke.
Are you committing to staying single throughout your first term?
I'm married to the city of Holyoke.
Wow.
So I just think it's an asset in terms of that energy. I mean, there's a trajectory of young single male mayors across this country who just want to make their cities a better place. Especially for me, it's my hometown. So.
All right. Alex Morse, Mayor-elect of Holyoke, Massachusetts. Congratulations.